This is the Pitch podcast with your host, Wyatt Douglas,
Brayden Eddy,
and Cole Kirby.
And then we have Victor and Dylan.
And today we're with Evan Rankin, a pro hockey player. Hello, Evan. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Brayden?
Good. So to start, we just want to know your story of getting to the pros, from the transition from AAA to juniors in college. How did that go?
Yeah, so it's a unique road in hockey, just in general, and it all kind of depends on your location too. So I was pretty lucky. My parents were extremely supportive of me, so they were willing to drive me to Detroit from Kalamazoo, just for practices midweek, games, tournaments. So it was just it was definitely commitment on their end. And then so I actually grew up playing in Grand Rapids. I played for the West Michigan Warriors. I lived in Kalamazoo, Michigan, so for me it was always a 45-minute drive to practice. And then obviously, as I said, we transitioned to Detroit. Started playing for CompuWare and Honey Baked, and you kind of need to be at the AAA level a little bit just for exposure, I guess. And it was definitely a commitment. I mean, I was practicing all the time, and we had camps in the off season, and then ended up moving away to actually live in Detroit for a year before heading off to play junior A. So it was meeting new people, new high school. So my junior year, I'm living in Detroit in Royal Oak with a brand new school that I've never met anyone. And then my senior year, I actually moved out to play junior A hockey in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I had a brand new school of 4,000 people there. It was an absolutely massive school. So it was just a crazy transition at a very young age that, your parents kind of hope that you're prepared for. But yeah, it's definitely a lot for a little guy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then was hockey always your favorite sport, or why did you choose to pursue hockey?
So I grew up, I absolutely loved hockey. It was always kind of my favorite sport. But I was better at soccer than I was hockey, and I was better at baseball than I was soccer. But I just loved hockey, and it was one of those things as the speed of the game. If you want to hit a puck out of midair, I mean, you're getting your baseball in. So there's just so many things that tie into the sport. And then there's also kind of a brotherhood in hockey too, right? You have so many guys that you played with throughout the years that just made things special. Winning together, guys that I played against growing up, I ended up playing together with at Notre Dame. So yeah, it's just it was always my favorite sport by far.
Was Notre Dame your dream college?
I actually grew up a huge Michigan fan, which sounds crazy. And planned to go there, was going to go there, and then I actually took an official visit to Notre Dame. And when I learned about the history there and then the academic promise, it's such a unique opportunity for anyone to be able to go to Notre Dame. And I didn't know that growing up. To me, it was just all about hockey. Where am I going to get to play the fastest so I can get to the NHL?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I visited the school, it was there's nowhere else I'd rather go.
What other Division I offers did you get that you were considering?
So at the time, when I was playing junior A hockey for Lincoln, Nebraska, right around Christmas time, I pretty much had offers to go to any university across the U.S. for hockey. Offers at Harvard, Michigan, North Dakota, Minnesota. So there was definitely a lot of opportunity there. It just came down to truly that official visit at Notre Dame. It was one of those, life-changing experiences, just to kind of see, not just what they are as a hockey team and a hockey school, but just the academic and the whole encompassing atmosphere you get there.
What was like a typical game day like for you?
I tried to be a little routine, but at the same time, I feel like if you get too locked in to have to do the same thing every single time, it can get a little crazy. So for me, it was always just, we had pregame skates in pro. Even in college, we'd do pregame skates. And then, kind of lock in during like a lunch which is typically like pasta, salad, stuff like that. Just kind of carbo loading, and then finished off with a nap right before the game. And then every single time you woke up, it was like game face.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys know this too, right? Like, you have your routine, but at the same time, you're thinking about all the things in the game that you want to do, and how hard you want to go. It's I feel like any athlete that is successful just wants to win so badly, that's truly their driving force. Like, the number one thing in common with all athletes that are successful is they can't stand to lose. And I feel like that is definitely like the most common thing for me as an athlete.
For sure. Evan, didn't you play overseas for a while?
Yep. So I played in Germany for 1 year. I was actually playing in the American Hockey League for a few seasons here in the U.S., and that's obviously the Grand Rapids Griffins. I did play for the Griffins for a little bit. But in between a few years that I had in Rochester, New York, I actually took a year to play in Germany. There's a unique financial aspect to playing over in Europe. And at the same time, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was young, married. It was just one of those opportunities that, we got to travel the world that, I would never, ever take back. Like, it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And then with hockey, obviously you can get in fights. Were you one of those players that got in a lot of fights, or is there a fight you remember?
So I never asked, right? I was always so worried about trying to win that, naturally when you're in the heat of the moment, you're trying to score a goal, somebody's shoving you around, naturally you're going to get into some altercations. The one thing most people don't really understand is the fighting, it's a little more police than people realize, right? If it's kind of like I said, brotherhood earlier, it's truly what it feels like. Because if a guy asks you and you're saying, no, or you don't want to fight, they're not going to push the envelope on you. They might chase you around for a little bit, but they're not going to go out of their way. So for me, I never said no, but I was always interested. You know what I mean? Because if you're fired up, ready to go, naturally it's gonna kind of come out of you. And I think I had 14 or so pro fights over 9 years, so it's not like I was looking for it. But it's a 72 game season. Naturally, you're gonna get into 1 or 2 a year.
Did you ever have any teammates that you grew up with and that you became super close with?
So yeah, there's when you play in Detroit AAA hockey, at least when I was growing up, especially I was kind of the leader of 86 Honey Baked. Bobby Ryan was the 87 Honey Baked leader, and then Patrick Kane was the 88 Honey Baked leader. So there's all these big names that you just, obviously growing up, it's not like you thought anything of it. You just expected everybody that was in those situations to make it. So I couldn't tell you how many guys that I grew up playing with that actually ended up playing in the NHL, because it's truly a lot.
When were you the closest being called up to the NHL?
So I had, playing in the American League, you're one step away from the NHL. Ron Ralston was my head coach in Rochester, New York. And he doesn't really talk to guys out of the his office. If he wants to talk to you, he'll set a meeting or whatnot. But I'd been on a pretty pretty significant goal streak, and I guess point streak. But I probably had, coming off of a couple game goal against Toronto, and Ron Rolston, he's grabbing coffee at the same time as me, and he's like, "Hey, Evan, you're our best forward right now." He's like, "Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm going to get you to where you want to be." So I'm like, this is unreal. Like, my coach is fighting for me to try and get up to the NHL. And then that night, we're playing in Syracuse. I ended up breaking my leg from a slap shot that came across on a power play. And it just hit right below the shin pad, right above the skate, and it snapped my fibula. So here I am now with a broken leg. 2 days later, Ron Rolston gets the head coaching job for the Buffalo Sabres. And 2 days after that, Nathan Gerby, who I grew up playing with, goes down for a concussion, so they need to call up a right winger. And it guaranteed it would have been my first opportunity or exposure to get up to the NHL. But yeah, I was out sidelined with a broken leg. So I don't regret any of it, though. It was a couple week deal, 6 weeks. It was non-displaced at first, and then I snapped it all the way through.
Did you make a full recovery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then what would you say to like any up-and-coming players or younger players that want to, advance in hockey?
I honestly don't quit. Like, if you really want to chase it down, like, you have to want it, not just outside the rink, right? Like, you have to want it every single shift, every single opportunity, because it comes down to a point where, like, you need to be more prepared, less tired, and want it more than the guy that's across from you. And it comes to that mentality of, truly believing that you're the best person suited for this job. So if there is a young player that's truly passionate about, having a hockey career and making it, like, I feel like you need to have that internal devotion to the game, and also, be committed to it. Do the extra things outside the rink, working out where that you're getting into a situation and you're going to be able to outlast the guy that's across from you. But yeah, fight for it.
Definitely. And then is there anything else you want people to know about you or your story or your hockey career?
No, I appreciate you guys calling up. It's fun to kind of talk hockey every once in a while. So, but yeah, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Evan.
Absolutely. You guys enjoy your day.
You
Thank
too.
You too.
Have me on here.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.